First of all, Neil, and I know I appreciate you've got to be careful about what you say for a risk of getting into trouble, but what's your reaction to the FA charge this week?
I think I'll like you say, I think I'll let the club deal with that now. When they ask me straight after matches, you know you're going to get a reaction, and that's how I am. That I don't see why I should give them any more. I'm going to be charged next week as well, I would imagine. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's what. We just have to get on with it.
Does it get any easier to take what happened last week now that we're almost a week on?
Well, it's difficult for me to see. The only problem I have is when our lads get charged, for surrounding the referee or whatever it is, and yet the 5 Swansea lads who screamed blue murder and ran towards the referee before he gave the penalty, nothing's done. It seems strange to me. And also, we have a lad Manning deliberately kick out at Dick Steele, and he's out for 3 or 4 months and needs an operation, and nothing's done with him. Same as the Blackburn centre-half who kicks his head off, who kicks Dale's head off and 9 stitches in his head, and nothing's done with him either. It just seems very, very disappointing at the minute.
On the Anthony Dijksteel point, it was a bit of an afternoon for you, wasn't it? Because he's going to be a massive miss. And it's a massive blow to him as well, because he turned his Middlesbrough career around.
Well, he's done ever so well. And to be taken out of the game with something as cynical as what he was, he didn't deserve that, really. And, when you do something like that, you've got to take the consequences. But the lad Manning doesn't seem to have any consequences. And yet we've got a lad out for 3 or 4 months with an operation. It just doesn't seem, But at the moment, I don't think life is fair at the minute. What with the 2 red cards that were rescinded as well.
Yeah, have you spoken to Anthony this week just to kind of put an arm round him, because he must be absolutely devastated, mustn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. And I thought he was just enjoying it. I know he was only on the pitch 10 minutes, but I thought he enjoyed the freedom of playing a different position and me letting him go forward. I thought he looked a real threat. But I just said to him, listen, you know what the situation now. I don't want you eating all these Easter eggs and putting weight on. You've got to look after yourself now and get yourself fit and be ready for pre-season, hopefully, or the start of the season.
And just before we talk about the match at the weekend, and I know the club were really strong on this yesterday, sadly, some really horrible stuff happening with Yannick Bolasie and abuse on social media. What's your view on that?
Well, we all support Yannick, and I think the club's made a statement, and at the moment, I think that's got to be sufficient coming out from the club, really.
So we move on then. And how good has it been having a full week? Because it's been a very hectic schedule, playing Saturdays and midweeks as well. But it must have been good for you to have a full week without the game on.
It hasn't really been. If I'm honest, when you wake up in the middle of the night thinking of the referee and the decisions at Swansea and penalties and no points and Dale Fry and Dick Steele, and very difficult to get back to sleep. So I've not enjoyed this week at all, no.
But has it not given you more time on the training field to fine tune things?
You're not going to get fitter now. The lads know how we play, so they're a good group of lads. They're all disappointed themselves, really. They're that type of lad. I've been really pleased with them, and they've really, and the sessions that we've had have been very good. But they know how important now. I think this next week that's it now. I think it's hit or miss now. I think if we don't get the points in the next 3 games, then we've got to start looking and giving 1 or 2 people games to see how they are between now and the end of the season.
That's it, isn't it? It's a bit of a difficult balancing act, because if you do get 6 points from the next 2 home games, you're right back in the mix, aren't you? So it's a difficult one, right on the knife edge.
It is with our home form, yeah. I think I think that's the pleasing thing for me, and why I've really committed myself for next season. I think Steve tells me what a great atmosphere it is with fans, and I'm really looking forward. I hope we sell thousands of season tickets, and that they come from the start of the season, and That's what I want, because I think our home form will be entirely different with a stadium full, and I am looking forward to that.
What about Stoke then? Did you expect them to be a bit further up the table, or about where they are, which is obviously just behind the Boro at the moment?
I think it just shows what a difficult league it is. When you look at Stoke's squad, it's probably as good as anybody's in the league. But they've had injuries and they've had decisions go against them, and it is one of those jobs you just, I like Mike. I think Michael's a good manager. He's seen it all and done it all, and it shows. It's not been an easy place to manage Stoke in the last few years, but he settled it down, I think, and got that stability. And yeah, they possibly, like us, think that they could have had another 8 or 9, 10 points and be up there. But I think once you look back, you've calmed the waters, and they're like ourselves. They'll be looking to have a go next season for definite if they don't get in the top 6.
Have you any special plans for them in terms of their changing facilities? Because you weren't very happy, obviously, in the reverse fixture with what Boro got.
No, not at all. I have drove my camper van round the corner for the manager and staff, and I hope they enjoy it in the car park.
And just finally, for me, on the idea that, of course, you might have to plan for next season should the next couple of results go against Boro. Has it any different? Obviously, we're just over a week on since you decided that you were going to stay and you committed to signing the new contract, or is it just business as usual?
No, it's business as usual, yeah. I mean, we've got a great group of lads, and as you saw at Swansea, there was no thought of being negative. I thought we were the better side, attacked them well, and that's what we've got to do. We know Stoke's a good side, and they beat us down there, and it was a very, very tight game down there. We conceded from a corner kick, I think, that went back out, and Tav didn't close his man down, and we lost the man in the box. But other than that, I thought we played quite well there, missed a few chances. So it'll be tight, but we got Preston Tuesday. They whopped us 3 at Preston, so it's a difficult week. But I think in the circumstances now, we've got to relax, and things haven't gone right for us, but we've just got to try and enjoy the time now in the 11 games.
Thanks, Neil. Good luck.
Thank you, son.
Mark Tulip.
Who?
Mark Tulip.
Mark.
PC.
Where are you? Oh, I've got you, Mark. Yes.
Stuff. Oh, better just unmute myself. Neil, clearly you're still, a week on, very frustrated. Are you one of those managers who actually get a lot angrier than your players, do you think?
No,
when things go against you?
I think it takes a lot to get my players angry, if I'm honest, the type of lads that I've got. So you can imagine, the decisions that cause the problems, the reason that we're being charged. And I'm sure the referees association have looked into it as well.
And can you channel that anger and frustration, or help your players to channel anger and frustration to sort of get an even better performance next time?
You just don't know. Every game's different, really. I think you've just you've got to. It's no good saying you forget about it, because you don't. I still wake up thinking of Eddie Smart, the linesman who had us against Chelsea in the Premier League, who should have given offside, and I wake up thinking of him. That's how sad it is, isn't it? At my age.
You've talked about getting to that stage of the season where it's a little bit do or die. You really do need 3 points and not 1. So has that sort of rather affected your tactical preparations for at least the next couple of games?
No, not at all. Whoever's fit and available, we will select a team to try and play against them. And not very often do you win 2 games on a trot at home, especially with our record. So we just got to play, like you say, the Stoke game first and foremost. See how we go on before we decide on what we're going to do on Tuesday.
Because in some respects, perhaps you may have overachieved this season. Is it something where you think that the players can actually just enjoy it and see where they are in 3 games' time, see if you really are in the mix?
Well, I don't want us to go out of the mix. I'd like us to keep in the mix, really, and I think the players would. You say we've overachieved. I disagree with you, if I'm honest. I think we could quite easily have got 10 more points without breaking sweat. So, I'm gutted, really, inside that we're not up there, especially when I look at the clubs that are. So, we just have to, I'm looking at the characters of some of the players now, and they know I'm looking, because I'm here next season. They're looking now, well, I want them here next season, because if I was one of our players, I'd want to be here next season with the excitement that we're going to have with fans back. and the team that we're building. I'd want to be involved so they've got to show me as well that they want to stay.
Do you think that's been a good thing, that that uncertainty over your future's been taken away and everybody knows where they stand, so you really can have a good look at those players you really do want to be part of your setup next season?
Well, I think if you ask the lads, I think they've enjoyed myself and my staff being here. But as I've said to them all, it's very small margins between success and failure, and I want success. So, we've got to learn by this season. And we've got to do it on our own backs, really. We're not going to get any help. We've got to do it on our own backs. We've got the same the rest of this season, and then we've got to start well next season. So it's an opportunity for some of the lads to actually cement the place at the club, and also I'll be looking. Is there one or two players that I'll probably let go? That don't fit into what I'm looking at. So. It's an interesting time. It's not got to be one that just fizzles out.
And Stoke are in a similar position, really, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I think probably they'll be a little bit more disappointed than us with the squad they've gotten, and the sort of. I think that the players they have are. It's an excellent squad. When you look around, but it's Michael. He's not. He's been around the block as well, Michael, and it's not an easy league. This league. There's no such thing as an easy game, so it's you just have to get on with it. I think they've drawn probably a lot more. If they'd have won 5 or 6 of their drawn games, they've drawn more than anybody in the league. I think they'd be right up there. So I'm sure he's looking at some of them draws, and although he should only have got a point against us really, so that's 2 that he's got extra.
And finally, from me, Neil, I'm just going back to injustices of the past. I suppose no consolation to Boro that Stoke improved their changing facilities just after your visit.
Well, I think Jose was quite pleased that I complained, because apparently it was excellent when they went the following week. Quite rightly so as well, really. It wasn't, I think enough's been said about that, but I think the way that they reacted is very good. It should have happened before, really, but. At least they adapted and changed it, and it wasn't any more problems for anybody.
Good luck at the weekend.
Thank you. Chris, where are you? Hiya,
Neil. How are you doing?
Got you, Chris. Carry on, Paul.
Just following up with that, I know you don't want to talk too much about the changing room gate, but is that an example of where sort of sportsmanship goes a bit too far?
I don't think so. I don't think a manager thinks about the visitors' dressing. I have asked numerous times this year why we give such great facilities to away teams when we go to places. No disrespect to QPR and places like that where we are at the other side of the ground behind the terraces, having to walk with flip-flops in the open air to get a shower and things like. It's in different grounds. It should be I would imagine for me, you'd think at this level that the EFL would inspect the away dressing rooms. It's not difficult to do something like that, and that they give the okay. Then if the EFL gave the okay, we wouldn't have a problem.
Hey, that could be a series in lockdown. Dressing rooms under the hammer from the EFL, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think they've got enough to work on without that.
Just on Stoke, I mean, you talked about the fact that they had a lot of draws. Does that almost, in the back of your mind, do you think, oh God, it's going to be a draw tomorrow?
I don't think you can do that with us, because if it's going to be a draw, we'll make a mistake and end up getting beat. So it's, we've just got to try and win it. And, like we did against Bristol City. Bristol City, we tried to win that. I thought we played ever so well, and then we lose 3-0 down. 20 minutes, diabolical playing. So you just don't know with us what you're going to get. It's same with you chaps who cover it. You must think when you wonder how they'll play today. Will it be a Millwall job or will it be a Bristol City? It's difficult for a manager. That's what I've got to try and do for next season. I've got to make sure that when we go out, we know 90% what we're going to do each game, and then there's no chance of the silly points that we've given away in other games.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Do you think that? Is that sort of hitting the nail on the head, that it's the inconsistency that's been your downfall this season? Yeah,
definitely. And I think the squad, we haven't had a massive squad when you look at the teams that are up there. But, Barnsley have just gone into the top 6, haven't they? So we can't moan. They've got us. I would imagine they've got the same size squad as us. So, there's no excuses, really. We've had enough opportunities. Stoke City the same. They'll have had enough opportunities to be in the top six. But good luck to people if Barnsley get in there. They deserved it. 6 or 7 games on the trot. It's an achievement at this level.
And I suppose at this stage in the season, all you can do now is say to the players, look, go for it, because, if we're cast our net, you never know what might happen.
That's correct, yeah. And try and enjoy it now. I think people, really, when you look at the situation, we're really at long outsiders now. So try and enjoy the games and let's build something now for next season, if that's the case. But at the moment, let's just concentrate one game. We've got 3 games in a week. So it will be decided itself by the end of next week, won't it, really, whether we're still in the hat or not. And then we've got to decide what we're going to do.